I've come to one of the world's most violent places to meet one of the world's most violent gangs.
Kill them.
How does it feel for the other person I did rape?
Each moment brings me closer to an infamous brotherhood who rule through fear and terror.
This is South Africa, a place of contrasts, of haves and have-nots. Down there are vineyards, private schools, golf clubs, and slap bang in the middle is Pollsmoor Maximum Security Prison. Built for 3,000 men, it now houses nearly 7,000. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned there under the apartheid regime. But today's inmates are a little less savoury. Bank robbers, rapists, multiple murderers. But Pollsmoor is also home to one of South Africa's most feared and brutal fraternities, the numbers gangs. I've come to see Chris Malhas.
Chris Malhas.
It's taken us 4 months to negotiate access to the prison that holds them. And after a 6,000-mile journey, I'm at the point of no return and wondering just what I've got myself into. My guide through the labyrinth of Pollsmoor is Chris Malhas, a senior warder with 29 years service. He takes me straight to the arrival centre where hundreds of new prisoners are admitted weekly. It's an unnerving place. The frightened faces of the young prisoners tell their own story. They already know the horrific reputation of the number, and from this moment on, non-gang members are prey to robbery and sexual violence. This man is a convicted murderer and a senior member of the 28s. He's taking an interest in a new arrival, perhaps soliciting him for potential membership of the number or simply seeking to extort money or favours. Every prisoner faces a humiliating strip search. While the authorities know many of them will be facing the number gang for the first time, equally many will have already submitted to their brutal power.
Chris, they're making them squat, yeah?
Yep.
Why are they doing that?
We're looking for those who put drugs in their anus up.
In their anus?
So, yeah, while they're squatting, maybe...
Because it pushes it out, yeah?
Yes, when they squat.
And what will they have inside the backside?
They will have what we call a poke,
A poke,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, support, piece of plastic.
Yeah.
And, you have Dacha, Mandrax, any drug or substance. And that's also a way of, preparing them for maybe, later on to have sexual intercourse. If you allow them to do the poke now, you agree to them, for later on to, abuse.
Being screwed.
Yeah.
As I watch prisoners arrive, I notice some are heavily tattooed. Chris informs me that they're members of the number gang, old hands returning to Pollsmoor. Their amateur tattoos are carved in with razors and blackened with ink. Gangsters are marked men for life.
So what is that?
What are these? Your rank?
Yeah.
What gang do you belong to?
26s, yeah?
Okay, what is this for? What does it symbolize? The chain?
Don't want to say, huh?
And this means money?
Money.
It means money.
Thank you.
Chris is one of Pollsmoor's longest-serving warders and commands huge respect here. There's very little he doesn't know about the number. These men are hardened, violent criminals, and it's solely due to his presence that they consent to be questioned.
Hello. I'm Ross, mate. Pleased to meet you. Yeah? You in the 28s? Yeah? How long have you been in the 28s?
Hoe lang is je niet 28? Hoe lang?
28 years.
28 years.
28 years. You have the stars on your shoulders. What do they mean? What do they mean? Are they ranked?
Waar staan het?
So officer.
Your officer.
Steelers? Nee. I dig my grave. Whose grave is this? Wie is er grapt?
It's my grave.
Didn't you dig your grave by becoming a 28?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? You say, I dig my grave because I become a 28. Okay. You're saying I cry for?
I cry for blood.
I cry for blood.
So, which line of the 28 you belong to? Which line? The bloodline.
Bloodline.
The bloodline refers to the 28's fighting men and distinguishes them from what's known as the White Line, a subservient branch of the gang.
Can I ask a question? What do you think of the 26? The 26? You don't know what I mean?
No.
You have no idea what I mean? Never heard of 26s?
You
Not
said-
27s? No.
The number has a pseudo-military hierarchy and is governed by a code of silence, the breaking of which is punishable by death. Even with Chris's help, penetrating the world of the number is going to be a tough assignment.
The guys that we've talked to, the guys with epaulets tattooed on their shoulders, obviously the generals, the captains, or the first sergeants, second sergeants, obviously their personal esteem goes up when they're here, and you can understand why a lot of them want to get in here, because out there, they're pretty worthless, they're nothing.
I've only been in Pollsmoor an hour, and it's an assault on the senses. Like entering a human zoo, the smells, sights and sounds are overwhelming. And I don't mind admitting, I'm frightened. I know not even the warders here are safe.
Many warders have been stabbed here, haven't they, or killed. One warder had his eye cut out, didn't he?
Yeah.
And another guy, I think, was stabbed.
Yes, I was there. You
were standing there?
Yeah, I was right there when Mr. Murray, I think he retired this year, 2006. He was stabbed 5 times.
But how many warders are there inside the actual maximum security prison to a prisoner? What's the relationship?
The relationship is 1 to 100.
So there's one warder per 100.
Yeah.
And most of these people are murderers or violent criminals.
Violent criminals, yeah, rape, murders,
If I'm going to understand the number, I'm going to have to mix with some of South Africa's most dangerous men. And my next step must take me into the lion's den. The number comprised 3 gangs: the 26s, the 27s, and the 28s.
So Chris, just tell me where I am in the prison now.
We're going now to the power base of the number.
The power base of the number.
Yes. We will go to 2 cells.
2 cells.
It's very dominant, 26 and 27.
The number is a ruthless brotherhood. When gang law is broken, they execute punishment, subjecting offenders to murder, mutilation, or gang rape. Visits to cells are very rare, and our access to Pollsmoor is almost unprecedented. Chris wants to make sure I don't screw up.
When we go now to the units, to the cells, you focus, you have soft face, you breathe, and you make eye contact, and you think. You never show them there's any fear. You never show them that they are on top of you.
Well, if it starts going wrong, let me know.
I will.
We'll get out of there, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's not stay in there too long if we can help it.
Okay, sure. Allora, they can come inside.
Chris's advice hasn't allayed my fears.
So it's all right for me to go in, Chris?
You can step inside. Just step inside.
Afternoon.
I spend an hour in the cell with some of the hardest men in the prison. Amongst them, a member of the 27, the Numbers Assassins. But I discover the Numbers' code of silence is stronger than I anticipated.
But one thing that's becoming quite apparent to me is that you guys don't really want to talk about the number to me. Can you tell me why that is?
Because we took out, you see, never to reveal our secrets to anybody else, unless it's one of us.
Right.
Unless it's one of us.
And I'm not one of you.
Yes.
But can I ask you one more question? What would happen if anybody did?
Very dangerous. There is punishments. I won't go into detail with it.
Sure.
But there's punishments.
I could only imagine what the number was capable of.
Thank you. Paul? Thank you. Right, guys. What can I say? There we are. We talk to people, no one would talk about the number. But then there's people showing me it's the first definite 27 we met. And he looks like a 12-year-old child. So Chris, tell me where I am now. Where am I?
Yeah, you're by the sentence side now. Sentence side.
These people, so that means these people have been sentenced for long terms inside, yeah?
Yeah.
Can I ask you one question though, Chris? We're in this yard now. How many people here are gang members, would you guess?
More than half of them.
More than half?
More than half, yeah. More than 50% of them.
And that's my ranking
Very high ranking. From the 26s as well as the 27s and 28s. If you look right across, you will see there's 4 gentlemen standing.
The guys in the corner, they're looking at us now, yeah?
They are the hierarchy of the 28s.
Yeah?
They are the senior partners of the 28s.
You can see them very clearly defined, that the 4 of them are sitting over there.
Yeah.
Are looking at us, yeah? And there are guys over there on the corner sitting on the steps, yeah?
They're 26.
They're 26, yeah?
It seems Pollsmoor is ruled by the number. To try and stop it spreading, the authorities segregate gang and non-gang prisoners. It's the end of my first day in Pollsmoor, and I'm wondering if I'll ever crack the code of the number. I'm in South Africa investigating the fearsome prison gang, The Number. So far, I've confronted a wall of silence. My guide, senior warder Chris Malhas, has told me that the prison authorities allow The Number gang to run the daily prison duties. If I can get them talking about that, I may uncover some of their secrets.
Chris, it's all right to come in, yeah?
Yes, please. Sit down.
So can you explain to me what this is? Obviously a cell for how many guys?
I can speak so nice English. I can speak good Afrikaans.
14
guys in the cell.
14 guys, yeah?
The 2 of you work specific with the food. Okay. You belongs to?
28 gang.
You belongs to 28.
The 28 control the food, huh?
Yes.
Has it always been like that?
Yes.
Prison. In every prison?
Any prison.
So why don't the 26 control the food? Why not?
Now he having work to clean the place, clean the offices, and when anything having work to do.
So I would guess the one that does the food has a bit more power than the one that does the cleaning. Is that true?
No, it's not more power.
It's a balance.
It's only the balance and do it right, in the right way.
All right, this is
and can give food for everyone.
And it's done fairly, so a 28 wouldn't get more food than a 26, no?
Oh, fair, you're doing all
fair, straight.
Yes.
How do you feel as 26ers if you entrust them to work with the food?
We agree with them.
You agree with them? You show respect to that?
Yes.
It's a system, yeah? It's an understood system.
Yeah, understood system inside of...
It's obvious to me that survival in Pollsmoor depends on belonging to the number. But in this brotherhood, initiation and promotion are earned by violence. And for this reason, a prisoner's sentence can get longer and longer.
The 8th of February was sentenced on the 8th of February 1983 to 6 years in prison.
To 6 years? That was a long time ago. 6 years have passed. You have problems here then, yeah?
Yeah, and then I assault members, stabbed members, so on.
You stabbed prison people?
prison. The last
So what
member
was the worst, yeah?
I stabbed was Mr. Mari. I and Matthews and Monges. And Mr. Malfas know it.
You stabbed a prison warder because he was a bad man, because he was told?
It was only just to be high-ranking officers in 28.
So you were given an order to stab a warder, and that moves you up through the rank, yeah? Where did you stab him?
The first shot I was stabbed was in his chest.
You stabbed him in his chest?
The second was in his left arm. And the third shot was behind his back. And then I choose gun and do the further stabbing. Like his neck, shot here. Other shots, one shot only here. A light shot here.
So the order to kill him or just to hurt him?
The order was to kill him.
Why did you come to prison?
Why? Murder, intent to murder, in housebreaking.
What, have you committed any more crimes according to
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to elaborate on that? Do you want to tell us? No? I guess.
These other guys cutting with a knife and, you see, rob the people in prison, all the stuff.
One thing that surprised me, because I've been to many prisons around the world, the use of knives here seems to be far more than in other prisons. People use fist or they use metal. But here, knives seem to be
I didn't use a phrase. I use a knife, but I use a cup or something like that.
A cup?
Yeah.
As in a cup? Cup. So a cup?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's made of metal.
Oh, you turn it into a mate?
Can you eat him on his head?
Can I touch? That's it? So you swing it and...
like this.
No, that's what you eat.
Somebody's got with this side.
This side, so you cut.
This side.
So why do you do that side?
To make it open. To make it open. Self-defense.
One of the best weapons is this. It's a lock on the end of a... Fuck. Excuse my language.
Bang you.
Yeah.
You feel the weight and you can check what it can do to a person's skull.
Sharp.
The heavier the lock, the better, because I mean, you crack your skull, you got to...
But you must not take it long like this.
There's less chance of missing it.
Because if you hit me, I can catch this thing. I catch it, then I got you.
So show me how. Dan must it be short.
Slaat gewoon maar niet zo licht.
And
I catch it like this.
Okay.
If I catch it, then I stay up you.
Okay. So, but how much you keep it?
But
You must keep it like short.
Short is
So you're very close to the person.
Then you can do it and
continuously. You can
continuously.
Food. Never had access like that in a prison before. Never heard people talking like that. It's totally down to the respect that Chris has, I think, inside this prison. It seems the prisoners are beginning to trust me, and later my instinct is proved right. Unexpectedly, some of the prisoners decide to show me the Numbers' secret initiation ritual. We're the only guys in the cell now, and we're deep in the heart of maximum security. I don't know what wing we're on, but we're in a cell for 28s and 26s. You guys, are you going to... What is this? Tell us.
It's a prison rule.
It's a prison rule. So we're seeing a ritual.
26 or 27, we must...
look, when you're coming to a cell, when the new one, you're coming to a cell, you know what? If we do this stuff, we will be in deep shit.
Really? But if you're going to be in deep shit, you don't do it, right? You don't get it. It's not a joke. It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
People get killed here.
Yes.
So I tell you what,
We can't do a prison.
we ain't going to do it. Have some food, yeah? The junior ranks are afraid to talk without the permission of one man. He's maimed and murdered his way to the very top of the number. He's a general in the 28, and his name is John Mongrel. I know. I have to meet him. To me, Portsmouth is like hell on earth. But Chris has spent a lifetime here amid the violence, and I wonder how he copes.
I always must be aware about safety, because you cannot do what I want to do within a not safe environment. So safety is not about the guns and the batons and the barbed wire. The safety for me is about the dynamic safety, to have a relationship, to gain understanding, to walk in their shoes, to know what's going up in their head, to know where they come from, to know what makes them tick, and why are they here? Why did they make the wrong choice? Because it's about voices. There's a lot of voices in our head, but there's choices.
With warders outnumbered 100 to 1, desperate measures are required to prevent the prison boiling over into anarchy. Blind eyes have to be turned to the prisoners' few illicit pleasures: drugs and porn arrive. People on Saturday night will look forward to the soft porn.
Yes.
They will take drugs that
Yes.
sexually heighten themselves.
Yes.
And then Sunday,
Sunday's more laid back. You know,
people
they
take
recover
drugs
from.
to bring them down from the crack or the ecstasy or whatever they've taken.
Yeah.
And they get off watching soft porn, and then they're having sex with other young boys and young men.
Young men. Young men.
And sometimes at knife point.
At knife point.
But you accept that as part and parcel of being here, yeah?
I don't accept that as part of, it's part and parcel, but, you know, I don't accept it because then it becomes a norm. It could never become a norm because that is destroying the life of that person.
25,000 people a month leave South Africa's prisons, but nearly 90% return. Prison obviously isn't a deterrent, and I want to know why.
In Pollsmoor, they have the luxury to have the best medical care, to be fed and to sleep on the bed. Whether it's now in an overpopulated place, whether they need to now share one shower, you know, one toilet, but, you know, many of them opt to be here because of that essentials.
Being in prison is better than being out in the real world.
How funny it may sound, for them, it's better to be in prison. You know, they will use the terminology of, we are a family. They could never be a family because they're not a family. It's artificial family, but they feel respected here. You know, they feel valued here. You know, amongst them, the 26 and 27, 28. Why are they so strong? Because they have the perception of caring for one another. And their perceptions are there for them real. And we need to break down their perceptions.
I couldn't believe that the number could have such a powerful hold on its members, and that they'd rather be incarcerated here than be free. I had to see where these men came from. What could be worse than Pollsmoor? I find the answer to that question 20 minutes outside of opulent Cape Town. It's the home to which many of Pollsmoor's released prisoners return. And like Pollsmoor, it's ridden with drugs and violent gangs. This is the Cape Flats, home to some of South Africa's poorest people. It's a deprived and disillusioned world, and consequently a fertile breeding ground for many of the country's street gangs. Kevin is the local boss of one such street gang, a group called the Americans. I go to meet him on his turf. I just saw a woman hand over some notes for a little... What was it? What would that be?
That will be for drugs.
Yeah, which kind? What kind of drug would it be?
Mostly the elderly people are still also on tick.
On tick?
I think they think it's a keep fit drug.
Keep fit drug?
Yeah, that's why they can clean up. Yeah, they can clean a house like in seconds, and it will be spick and span.
Tick is methamphetamine, and I doubt it creates domestic bliss. Before I travel deeper into Kevin's world, I need to understand the relationship between street gangs on the Cape Flats and the number in Pollsmoor. Andre Standing is one of the leading authorities on South Africa's gang culture.
During apartheid, for a very long period of time, there was no relationship between the numbers and the street gangs. And the numbers actually forbid it, really. They're saying, no, the numbers only exist in prison. They don't make any sense outside prison. Now, this changed quite dramatically in the late or the early 80s, when Mandrax, the drug Mandrax, became influential. The Mandrax is very small, and one
They call
dealer,
it button, don't they?
Buttons, right, yeah. One dealer can deal a lot of those and make a lot of money, whereas a dealer in marijuana, can't really make much money. So in the 80s, you got a few gang leaders and drug merchants making a lot of money. And these guys have had a major influence on the way street gangs operate. And crucially, when they got sent to prison in the late 1980s, the prison numbers were suddenly confronted by these super rich drug merchants. So they kind of made a deal with the drug merchants. They said, what we're going to do is we're going to fast track you into the higher levels, without you knowing all the oral history, without you having to do some of the more gruesome, initiation ceremonies like stabbing people. But we're going to give you a higher level. And in return, we want access to drugs, and when we leave prison, we want access to jobs as well in the drug industry. And it seems what happened is the drug merchants thought this was a good idea. They also liked the status of being generals in the 26s or the 28s. So they became these very powerful men in prison. And crucially, when they came out of prison, they started telling gangs to align themselves to the 26s or the 28s.
It seems the number is evolving and extending its reach beyond the walls of Pollsmoor. I was staggered to learn that there were now 130 street gangs on the Cape Flats, and that the largest of these is the Americans, with 5,000 members, all affiliated to the number. I caught up again with Kevin, a junior boss with the Americans, a violent ex-convict and a sergeant with the number. He invites me to the gang's headquarters, a small shack known as the White House. The Americans have a fearsome reputation, but I'm relieved to find them relaxed. In fact, a little too relaxed.
But they prefer now. Guys, they leave them in for this thing.
What?
Yeah. That time 10 break as well.
As their drugs kick in, their conversation starts to flow.
But I'm right in assuming that the Americans are the biggest, are they?
Yes.
No. I put it this way. I go as far as the media, announced it, you know.
Right.
By me saying that we are the biggest gang, it could be a lie, you know. It could be true too. But according to the media stated the most notorious gang in the Western Cape, the Americans.
And the word notorious, it means that you probably use violence occasionally, yeah?
Yeah, most definitely.
The gang are taking crystal meth and mandrax, a lethal combination of stimulant and depressant, which provokes extreme mood swings and aggression. Kevin's gang are Cape Coloured. In South Africa, the term coloured applies to a separate racial community distinct from blacks and Europeans.
About being what is known as a Cape Coloured, would you consider yourself to be called Cape Coloured or not?
I grew up in the apartheid area, and we were called Cape Coloured. I grew up with it. I'm not ashamed to be a Cape Coloured, you know?
There's one thing that people say, though. They say that when both the regime was here, when the apartheid regime was here, you were treated like second-class citizens by the government then, and now the black regime here, the ANC regime here...
Seems to be with third now.
Really?
Yeah, we're going low.
Is that a general consensus?
That's how you see it. You see how you can count how many coloured people you find in parliament. Then you see how many coloured, then you see how many European people you find in parliament, and then you see the majority, the African people in parliament.
Who's got the money now in the country? It's the blacks. The blacks and the whites. The colours, they don't see the colours. Why? All the armed robberies, all the murders. You get affirmative action, you know. I go for a job, the black man get the first privilege.
The Cape Coloured shared the dream of a new South Africa, but it seems they've been left at the bottom of the pile.
When we went to school, every one of us had a dream. You wanted to become something in life, right? Like me, my wish was I wanted to go to sea, to see the world.
What do you think your future holds for you then?
My future, it depends. It depends. I can't predict my future.
I can't predict the future either, only witness the present. But like everything, the present is tied up with the past. The Cape Flats is a racial dumping ground, a legacy of South Africa's apartheid era. The community was established here 40 years ago, when coloured residents of Cape Town were evicted from their homes in what was known as District 6. They were relocated beyond the white enclave of Cape Town to a barren area known as Cape Flats. Today, 2 million of the Western Cape's poorest people live here. 75% of all violent crime in South Africa involves firearms. And there are an estimated 10 million unlicensed guns in the country as a whole. Many of them are here on the flats. Now Kevin, local gang leader of the Americans, has kindly agreed to show me a small part of his arsenal. Such is the lawlessness of the Cape Flats that Kevin has no fear of showing me his guns. He's also frank about his dealings with the police.
Yeah, they will leave you. If you have 150 rand on you, you're free to go. You tell him, yeah, I've got a gun on me.
And if you give him 150 rand, he'll let you go?
150 rand. Yeah. And
So
you
that's
go
15
with
pounds.
Yeah, you go with it.
When you're loading the weapon, you do this alternatively, don't you?
Yeah, solid, hollow.
Bullets with hollow points shatter on impact. They cause terrible injuries when fired at a person, as Kevin's friend knows to his cost.
He's got an example, his leg is shot to hollows. It splits.
My God, your leg is complete. Learn what happened then?
Shot me.
That was a hollow point, yeah?
Yeah, only one bullet.
There, yeah?
Yeah, the leg comes out here.
And it came out there and exploded.
Yes.
So they shot you in the leg, and where else did they shoot you?
In my bum. It exploded in my stomach.
Look at that. Did they? That was a hollow point like this.
Yes, I had to sit through here.
You had to shit through.
Yes,
through the whole
use the
leg.
toilet, yes.
Because you couldn't use it, huh?
For a whole year, yeah.
For a whole year, you had a colostomy bag, yeah?
Guns are a part of everyday life for gang members. They know how to use them and how to avoid prosecution.
When you're putting the rounds into the magazine, don't you do something with your fingers?
Yeah, we actually put the wooden glue. You put onto your fingers. If you put this part, but we someone take a mist, you put it into the palm, then you just rub it. The wooden glue performs like another skin.
So it fills in your fingerprints?
Fingerprint. So your fingerprint won't be...
On the gun?
On the gun, because mostly if they catch you with a gun so big and it's on the ground, you can win the case. But you won't win the case if your fingerprints is on the gun.
So far, I've seen little evidence of any law on the Cape Flats. We asked the South African police to appear in this film, but they refused. I'm in South Africa, where drugs and gang violence rule the Cape Flats. Kevin is a leader of the Americans and a member of the notorious Number. No one is safe. Friends, his wife, even his 3-year-old child have died by the gun. Kevin is very close to his sister Janice, and I want to know how she copes with his life.
I don't agree with him being part of a gang, but he's a different man in the house. What he does outside is his own doings, and as I said, I have a son that I'm raising, and I wouldn't want him to be part of a gang, but he's my son's uncle.
When you look into Kevin's eyes, you can see that there's a lot of pain in there.
He does have a lot of pain, merely because he lost his son. His son he lost about 13 years ago now. It's very sad up until this day, merely because of the manner that he lost him.
How did he lose?
Kevin came home one evening with a cocked gun, illegal of course, and his son found it in the morning, and the gun went off, and he died, yes, on the way to hospital.
I asked Kevin about his son's death.
It was a gun on the wrong place. That's why I don't... It's how the people made some of the guns. Some guns doesn't have safety, some guns can
He found
work.
the gun. He found the gun, yeah?
Yeah. the impact to the ground. He was in my arms when he died.
Despite the life he leads, Kevin still believes in God.
Do you believe that when you go, if you should get killed, do you think that you'll be seeing them again? Do you hope to see them again?
I'll be living in peace because I'm already there to straighten my path for the next life. There is, if God makes a promise, He won't break His promise. He doesn't break His promise because He didn't break His promise with most of His followers. So that will be. Even if I don't meet Him, I will be there with Him. That's the best is your family and your relatives.
Even after the loss of those closest to him, Kevin remains a leader of the Americans and relies on drugs and religion to fill the void left in his life. With nothing more to lose, Kevin is trapped in a vicious circle of gangs and crime. Street gangs dominate the everyday lives of children on the Cape Flats. And like Kevin's son, some of them don't stand a chance. Talking to kids on the street, I am saddened by how familiar they are with gang violence.
Do you like the Americans?
No.
No, who do you like?
The Yakis.
The Yakis? Why do you like the Yakis?
Because they shoot, they fight.
Yeah.
They gangsters, they shoot people. They blah, blah, blah.
Do they? Do you think that's good or do you think that's bad?
It's bad.
Bad, yeah? Do you ever hear gunfire and stuff like that?
Yes.
A lot, huh?
Yes.
I'm beginning to fear that gangsters are the only role models for the next generation on the Cape Flats, though I felt there had to be another option. This isn't the latest batch of young offenders. These boys belong to the Olympia Boxing Club. In a society this violent, perhaps it's no surprise that boxing's being used to keep the kids out of trouble. I speak to the coach, serving police inspector Paul Manuel, who tells me just getting to his club is trouble enough.
You know, for them to leave their house and actually get you, they literally have to dodge bullets, and you know, they got to pass through different gangsters' turf and that type of thing. So, you know, for them to get you is 80% of the battle won already.
Paul's mission is to teach his boys self-discipline and respect.
These youngsters then go back into the same community where I found them and start becoming, you know, role models, start becoming ambassadors, but the good role models, the good ambassadors.
Paul's Academy gives these kids an alternative to gang life. Mazel is one of the club's success stories.
You've never ever become a gang member?
No.
Do you think the boxing's had something to do with that?
A lot. It kept me busy. It kept me busy the whole time. And due to my inspiration, I'm Paul Manuel. It kept me away from being or becoming a gangster.
I've got a lot of time for Paul and the boys, but I can't help thinking they're fighting a losing battle. Even if the epidemic of gangs can be cured on the street, it can still be transmitted from where it thrives, inside the walls of Pollsmoor Prison. My time in South Africa is running out, and before I leave, I return to Pollsmoor, the dark heart of the number.
Can I please have the identification card? Do you have it? Okay, so we're going to...
The General of the 28th, John Mongrel, has finally granted me an audience. I find the prison corridors empty. It's Sunday, and a church service is in full swing. While I wait for the General, I sit in on a rehabilitation class. an initiative that encourages prisoners to confront their past.
I got 2 kids, 2 daughters. One is 17, one is 12. I don't want they to be raped because I know how does it feel. Somebody raped my daughter, I kill him. But how does it feel for the other person I did rape? How does our family feels?
It's time to meet the General, the most feared man in Pollsmoor. The highest ranking 28. His bloody road to the top rank of the number began 19 years ago when he was sent to Pollsmoor, convicted of murder.
I was 14 years old.
You were 14 years old?
14 years old.
And you came to Pollsmoor then?
Came to Pollsmoor as a juvenile.
Yeah, and what was your sentence?
My sentence was 9 years.
But how comes you've been here so long then?
In the prison, I go to the 28th. They told me, okay, I gave you a number and you must kill a guy in the cell. And they give me a knife. And the other guy came and they strangled him. And I took the knife and stabbed him in his heart. And 2 times and the blood come out.
Yeah. And you did that because you were ordered to, yeah?
Yes.
Because you were 28, yeah?
28 years.
So the warder's frightened of you?
If there is a warder, it's not right here in prison. I told the 27, you what the 27 is, there's a knife for you. You must kill the warder or the major or the captain. And the 27, they told me, salute, my brother, I'm go. You can watch. And then I go to the cell there.
Yeah, and you watch?
And then watch.
So what would happen if the 27s didn't follow your orders?
I killed them. Because we cannot stand for that duty.
Sure.
I killed them.
The General seemed prepared to talk about the number, so I decide to risk asking him about the initiation rite his junior ranks have been so afraid to talk of.
If a person come in the cell, my duty is to ask him for what he is here and how long he. And I told him, you sleep there. And if it's not the number, I have sex with him.
You have sex with him?
I have sex with him.
How do you have sex with him? You hold him down?
I hold him down. My face him.
You face him, yeah?
Yeah, sex with him.
You hold him down. Does someone else help you hold him down, or you do it on your own?
No, he's scared for me.
So he has to have sex?
Yeah, then he lay.
The secret rites and brutal code of the number are becoming clear to me. Either you fight your way up the ranks, or become a permanent victim of sexual abuse.
I have sex with a man.
19 years you have sex with a man?
With a man.
Does that make you gay?
No.
Why not?
I'm not a gay.
What are you then, a man?
I'm in daughter, a man.
Right, you're the man. But what about the man that gets fucked? What's he?
He's a woman.
He's a woman?
Yeah, a wifey, a woman. I'm telling him, you must wash my clothes. He do it. I give him bread, food. I give him a bed. And I watch them, he's all right.
So do you have a lady in here now, a lady boy in here now?
I have one.
How long have you been with that one?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Do you change regularly, yeah?
Yeah, I change, yes.
You just walk up to them and you go, you will be my wife?
Yes, she comes sleep by me, by my bed.
If they don't do that, what happens?
Kill them.
So, John Mongrel, interesting man.
John Mongrel is one of the most sadistic men I've ever met. But I feel it's important to remind myself that he's a result of the problem and not its cause.
South Africa is such a breathtaking place. It sort of feels wrong to say that I'm disappointed, but I am. It's 16 years since Nelson Mandela was released from prison, and while many things have changed, so many things have stayed the same. One elite has been replaced by another elite. Privilege and segregation still exist. The gap between the haves and the have-nots is vast, and gang violence is an everyday occurrence. It may be 16 years since the end of apartheid, but I believe the struggle for South Africa has only just begun.